back to our channel. Today I'm going to be making a video on my own. As you can see, Jaden is not with me because I am going to be showing you guys how to film and edit YouTube videos using iMovie 2020. Now this video is not only about the editing portion. I'm going to show you guys how we plan, how we film, what we use to film, and then we're going to end off with how to edit on iMovie. If there is a specific part that you're interested in, I'll put little timestamps in the description box down below so you can just skip ahead to the part that you're interested in learning about. These tips and tricks can be used for pretty much anything. It's obviously not only for people who want to have a YouTube channel. This can be used while you're in school or if you're doing a work presentation or anything along those lines, because it's always useful to know the basics of video editing, especially as the world becomes more and more digital. It's really important that you know at least how to create a simple basic movie. I have a lot of different things that I can teach you guys about, whether it's about Photoshop, Affinity Photo, or other editing software like Final Cut Pro X and Premiere Pro. Just leave a comment down below if you would like me to create those kind of videos for you guys. Also guys, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment down below, subscribe to this channel, and don't forget to put those little bell notifications on so that you can be the first ones to see our YouTube videos. Okie dokie, let's get started with the video. First up is planning. Now, planning YouTube videos or videos in general is pretty important. Honestly, Jaden and I aren't the best at planning out our videos because we make a lot of vlogs and we kind of just wake up in the morning, decide what we feel like talking about, and talk about that for that day. So that works because we're literally making a video every single day, daily content. But if you're only doing 3 videos a week, or if you're working a full-time job while trying to create content, then I highly recommend that you actually plan out your videos in advance. You can download so many different planning apps. You can get yourself a nice calendar, or you can even just use the Notes app on your phone to write down some video ideas. Literally, I have this shared note with Jaden, and whenever I think of a video idea, I'll just add it into the notes. And so we've got this long list of video ideas. It's not like you wake up every single day with inspiration for a new video idea, so sometimes you need a little bit of inspiration, so it helps to just have all of your ideas on your phone for easy access and inspiration. Okie dokie, moving on to my favorite part, equipment. I'm gonna be totally honest with you. I don't think that it's worthwhile if you're starting a brand new YouTube channel going and investing in some super expensive camera, some super expensive laptop, unnecessary expensive lighting products and microphones and things like that. You can be really innovative and use the things that you just have around the house. For starters, generally phone cameras today are really good. If you're starting a YouTube channel and you don't have the budget to be able to spend on some kind of camera, just use your cell phone. In terms of lighting, just use natural daylight. Sit by a window that allows a lot of light to come into the room, like I'm literally doing right now, and the lighting will be good enough. Currently, I'm filming on the Canon G7X Mark II. This camera I've probably had since the end of 2015, so it's really old, but it's still amazing. It does really well. The microphone on board is really good. As you can see, the audio quality is definitely good enough, and so is the video quality. This camera is generally used for vlogging, and obviously because a lot of our videos are vlogs, it's literally perfect. But at home, the equipment that I do have is way better. I really miss my equipment. I have got this beautiful ring light. I've got the Sony a7 Mark III. I've got a tripod. I've got a proper microphone. I've got 2 different Rode microphones. But if I were gonna start again, if I had to buy 1 camera, 1 microphone, and 1 light, I would definitely go for the Canon G7X Mark III. I'm really hoping to get that camera quite soon. The reason why I would go for that is because firstly, it's compact, so it's easy to carry around. Wherever you're filming, you can just quickly pop it up and film and shoot. It's very much just point and shoot kind of camera. Another great feature of that camera is that you can plug in an external microphone, which you cannot do on the Canon G7X Mark II. I would really love the Canon G7X Mark III with the Rode microphone. It's really compact but super powerful and super useful and good enough for YouTube. Honestly, I can say that lighting and sound are probably the 2 most important parts of YouTube videos or film in general. Sorry, there's an ambulance going past. If you have bad audio, no one's going to be able to hear what you're saying, so I highly recommend investing in audio and lighting before going for, say, some 4K camera. Then I also really like to use a tripod. As I mentioned, I'm stuck here in the UK, so we do not have my tripod that I have at home. I just have a really old photography tripod. Especially if you're doing sit-down videos, you don't really need some fancy expensive tripod because it's just there to hold your camera. As long as it's stable enough to hold your camera and it's not going to go falling over the place, then it's good enough. And then while I'm vlogging, I use this little GorillaPod piece. you can bend it like this. You do also get the little tripod ones, but I lost mine unfortunately. So those ones have got 3 legs, and that's really nice because if you want to quickly set it up somewhere while you're vlogging, you can just use those 3 legs and place your camera and chat with your camera. For vlogging, I really like this one because you can extend your hand out and walk with the camera in front of your face like this, which makes filming a lot easier than holding the camera itself, because that's always a little bit awkward. So yeah, definitely get one of these little, it's like a screw in piece of a tripod, I suppose. Then obviously for the editing side of things, all iPhones come with iMovie, so that's definitely an option, but I've never edited on my cell phone. I mean, when I first started creating videos when I was really young, I literally walked around with my mum's Dell laptop filming myself like this, and then I used Windows Movie Maker. That was from years ago. So yeah, if you don't have a Mac, you can just use Windows Movie Maker, which is a different editing software to what I'm going to be explaining today. But I have my MacBook Pro, and I find it a lot easier to do all of my editing on there because obviously you've got a bigger screen. If you have a laptop available, just make your life easier and edit on your laptop. The next topic that I'm going to be talking about is filming. There are a couple tips that I could think of when you're busy making your videos. For starters, I think eye contact is super important. You want to make your audience feel like you are speaking directly to them. Try your best to look at the camera the whole time. I know when I first started filming and when Jaden first started filming, it was super awkward talking to a camera, but if it helps you, put a little teddy bear or something, or some kind of face behind it so that it feels like you're talking to a person rather than talking to a camera. I think I've just been talking to a camera for so many years that it feels like I'm talking to all of my friends on YouTube, so it's not really awkward for me. I feel very comfortable talking to the camera the whole time. I suppose the weird thing is that there's no one responding to you. You're literally just talking to yourself. Just put a little face there for you or teddy bear there for you so that you don't feel as awkward. The next important thing would definitely be framing. There's this thing in film called the rule of thirds, where you kind of divide your screen into 3 parts. So you've got 1 part, 2 part, and 3 part, and then 1 part, 2 part, and 3 part. And generally you want to try and stay in the top 2/3 with your head, and then obviously in the middle third with your head so that you're totally centered. This looks way more aesthetic, but it also helps to keep people focused on what you're saying. Next up is going to be the audio. It's really important that you're not filming in an area with lots of noise. I know that I've got some cars driving around in the background, but there's nothing I can really do about that. But what I've done to be able to get rid of as much of the outside noises as possible is close the windows. I'm filming at a time of day where there's not as many cars on the road. These are all things that I think about when it comes to audio. Also, let's say you're doing a vlog and you're outside and it happens to be quite a windy day. Rather try and find a little nook or cranny, you know, a corner or something to try and shield yourself from the wind, because I know that this wind background sound where it's like on the microphone does not sound good. Okay, so that's pretty much the planning and the filming side of things, and now we're gonna move on to the most exciting part for me personally, which is the post-production side of things, which is where the magic happens. So because I'm talking about iMovie today, obviously you're gonna be working on a Mac. But if you guys are interested in other editing software like Final Cut Pro X or Premiere Pro, just leave a comment down below because I can always create a video about that for you guys. Those are obviously more powerful editing programs and you can do a little bit more. But if you're starting out, iMovie or Windows Movie Maker is definitely good enough to be able to create very simple, neat YouTube videos or videos in general. What's nice about iMovie is that it automatically saves your project, so you don't constantly have to be saving, because that's pretty much a #1 rule about editing. You want to constantly make sure that you're saving. Most editing platforms do automatically save it for you, but in any kind of design work you want to constantly be saving, because it is the worst thing ever if you spend hours and hours working on some kind of design project or film project and then suddenly your computer crashes and you lose all of your work. This has happened to me before. So I'll always start off by going onto iMovie and you create a new movie, and then I will go and give it a nice name. So today's video will be called How to Film and Edit YouTube Videos Using iMovie 2020. And then you are ready to start importing your footage and creating your video. Now I'm gonna move on to talking about some basic editing tips. Whenever I film a video, I will always import all of the footage onto the timeline and then go through all of the footage and delete all of the really long pauses or the things that we say that are not relevant to the video or that are quite boring or repetitive. Generally speaking, the first 15 to 20 seconds of the video is the most important because it's going to attract the viewer's eyes. So whether or not you create a trailer or you have something exciting happen in the beginning, that's really important. How to create a cut in the timeline. I personally like to use shortcuts. I find it makes the editing process a lot faster. faster. Shortcuts are when you use the keys on the keypad or the keyboard rather than going and clicking with the mouse the whole time. So Command B is to break the clip in half, and then Command C is for copying, and Command V is for pasting. Obviously you can change your shortcuts in your settings, but this is what I use to edit. If you want to keep people interested in your video, you got to kind of have a change. You need to make it a little bit more aesthetically interesting. Two basic editing crop techniques that people use in their videos. They will often crop into the video and then crop back out, and then the other one that they'll do is kind of like a slow zoom into the video. The first one is just a basic crop, so you'll go ahead and make a cut on either side of the clip that you want to crop into. Then you will use the crop tool and click on crop to fill. Adjust the clip to how small or how cropped in you want it to be, and then click OK, and then you'll have the effect of cropping in and cropping back out. And then the other option is to use Ken Burns. You do the same thing again, except this time you select Ken Burns, and then that will create kind of a slow zoom in effect. I really like using this whenever there's kind of like this long thing that I'm rambling on about, or if there's an awkward silence or something like that, then I'll do like a slow zoom in. It depends on the effect that you want to create. I can also explain to you guys about keyframes. I really like using keyframes because with Ken Burns you just kind of zoom in and then it goes straight back out again, whereas if I use keyframes, then I can zoom in, I can stay on that spot and then zoom out, and it's a lot less work. What a lot of people will end up doing is they'll do a Ken Burns, then crop in on the image and try and get it to the exact same crop that the Ken Burns had, and then do a Ken Burns out again, and that just seems like so much work. It would just be a lot easier if you use keyframes, but that's a little bit more complicated to explain, and I think this video is more for basic editing tips and tricks. So yeah, definitely crop and Ken Burns will be good enough for starters. Next up, we're going to be talking about overlays. Overlays are the little images that I'll put on the screen, or the text that I'll put on the screen when I'm asking a question, or if I'm showing, let's say, a snack that we're trying to eat. This is super easy. All I'll do is I'll go onto Google and I'll type in, let's say I want the overlay of the little Instagram icon or the Facebook icon. Then I'll go and type on Google Facebook icon PNG. PNG is an image that's got a transparent background, or I'll type Facebook icon transparent background, and then I'll just find the one that when you click on it, it's got to have the checkerboard, kind of gray and white checkerboard in the background. That's how you know if it's a PNG. And also when you save it, make sure that it's a PNG. I can also show you how to create your own PNGs in Affinity Photo, which is very similar to Photoshop. But once again, that will be a different video. So leave a comment down below if you want to learn about Affinity Photo and Photoshop. Then I will drag this image, the PNG image, into the timeline and overlay it on top of the clip that's in the main timeline zone. Then I will click on the drop down menu and select Picture in Picture. I'll use the crop tool and click Fit. I'll adjust it to wherever I want it. Now iMovie's got this thing where as soon as you import an image, for some reason it applies a fade at the beginning and at the end, and obviously you want to remove this, so you go and you drag those little keyframes and remove the fade on either side of the image. And then if you want to use a sound effect, you know how whenever there's kind of an overlay that pops up, people will have like a pop sound or a swish sound or whatever it is. Then I'll just go onto YouTube and find pop sound effect or bottle popping sound effect, whatever sound you want to use, and I'll go and look up any YouTube to MP3 converter, download that sound effect, and then drag that into the timeline, and then just make sure that it lines up nicely with the overlaid image so that as the image appears, the sound effect plays at the same time. Now, most editing softwares come with a certain amount of sound effects for free, so you can obviously use iMovie's free sound effects, but if there's nothing that's suits your fancy, YouTube has so many different sound effects, but just make sure that they're not copyrighted, because if you want to be able to put ads on your videos, you don't want to use copyrighted content. Which brings me on to the next topic: music. Music in videos is so important. Seriously, I think it makes or breaks the YouTube video. If it's got some really bad music in the YouTube video, people are definitely going to click away straight away. And I'm not joking when I say I spend hours and hours finding music that's non-copyright that I actually like. So the best way to do it for me is I go and look up non-copyright free music Casey Neistat, or non-copyright free music of any kind of big YouTuber, Peter McKinnon, whoever you want or whoever you like, and I'll just go on that playlist and download a couple of those songs and use that music. It's also because I know that they're a big YouTuber, so I kind of trust that I know that this music is non-copyright, because they wouldn't be using copyrighted music in the first place. Then to download that music, you do the exact same thing as you did for the sound effects. Just go YouTube to MP3, go onto one of those websites, download the song and import that into your timeline and put the music wherever you want it. Next up are the titles. Darling, you send me. As you can see, in between each of these sections, I've made a title for equipment or filming or editing basics. There's a really nice app on my phone. I spoke about this in our What's on My iPhone video. The app is called Fonto. So what's great about Fonto is that it's free, and we love free things. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go on there and I'm going to click on the little camera icon, and then I'm going to say plain images and import whatever color image I want. So for this one, I'm going to use the light blue image. Then I'm going to go and change the resolution at the top to the iPhone 8 Plus one, the horizontal one, and then I'm going to click that arrow in the top right corner and say use. Now I've got my blue image that I'm going to use as the background color. Now you can overlay a little image if you want onto this thing by clicking on the 3 buttons and clicking add image, but there's this little icon that I really like, so I'm going to say add text and then go to the symbol section, and there's this very basic outline star that I like to use. And then I just click done and put that onto the blue background. Now that I have that image with all of the stars all over, I'm going to add some text. So let's say I want to make an overlay that says equipment. I will go ahead and choose my font. I'll move it and put it in the center of the image. And then what I really like to do is I like to go to the style tool, and then at the top I move from color to style. I apply the background shadow. I put the alpha all the way up and the blur all the way down. And then I will save that image. Since when do you buy flowers? Yay, that's so cute! I love sunflowers.
I saw this nice
sunflowers.
I saw this nice flower place, so I said,
Rare, that's so cute. So now I can put my sunflower in this video. There we are. I move all of the stars about 5 to the side, and then I save the same image again, but obviously with those little bit of changes. And then I'll import those 2 images into iMovie, and I'll just alternate them one after the other, but make it super short so that it looks like the stars are moving the whole time, and it gives this really cool effect. And it's so easy to do, but it makes it seem like you've made so much more effort than you actually have. Next up is transitions. Now, transitions aren't that important. You can just have very basic cuts, but sometimes it makes it a little bit more obvious that you're changing locations or you're changing topics by inserting a transition. I really don't like cross dissolves and things like that. It's very old-fashioned. I would recommend using something like a horizontal slide and then putting a swish sound effect with it, because let's say I'm changing locations, suddenly it's shoo, and I'm in the different place, rather than just making a cut like I usually do in any other scene, because then people might be a little bit confused and not understand that you've actually moved location or changed topic. Next up is filters. Now, a filter or a LUT can make a really big difference to your video. If you've got bad lighting, or if it happens to be an overcast day, by applying a filter or a LUT, you can make it seem more sunny, or you can make your skin seem a little bit more healthy, and you can enhance certain colors that you want inside your videos. So let's say you really like it if the yellow stands out, or you really like it if the whites are super white, then you can do that. So I would say the easiest way is just to apply a filter on the free app on your phone called Visco. All you have to do with Visco is export your video once it's complete, airdrop it onto your phone, find the video on your phone. I'm just going to use the British Girls Try Israeli Snack video as an example. My favorite 2 filters that I like to use are C7 and U2, haha. But there are so many filters to choose from, so if you like a different look, just go through all of them and you can choose what you like. So let's say for this one I want to use C7, and then I'll always make it to about maximum 5.5 or lower. So let's just put it at 4.5, and then I will increase the exposure a little bit just so that it's a little bit brighter, because brighter videos always look a bit nicer. I will put the saturation up a tiny bit just to enhance the colors, and then last but not least, if my skin looks too yellow or too orange, I will adjust the temperature. So that you can do under white balance, and then you can just make it a little bit colder. Obviously there's a lot of other things that you can do here, and then yeah, all you do is you click next and save to camera roll, and it will save your video for you with the filter. I'll put a little bit of an example over here where you can see the difference between the video with the filter and without the filter. When I edit with Final Cut Pro X, I will always apply a lookup table. I actually applied 2 lookup tables, and they're actually free LUTs that I get off of the internet, but obviously that is more complicated, and I will explain that if I do create a video for you guys about Final Cut Pro X. Okie dokie, last but not least, but actually one of the most important parts of creating YouTube videos, it is the thumbnail. The image that I want to use as the thumbnail, I will first go into Affinity Photo, and this app is really easy to use. You do have to pay for it, but it's a once-off payment, which is why I prefer it over Photoshop. The thumbnail's resolution is always 1280 by 720p. So I'll create that image size on Affinity Photo, import my image, and then create a new layer on top of that image. And then I'll take the little paint tool and draw a white line around the main part of the image. It's usually our faces or something like that. And then I'll export that photo and airdrop it onto my cell phone. There are obviously tons of photo editing apps like Visco, Afterlight, and Facetune. So I'll always edit the photo first on one of those applications to get the colors that I really like, and then I will import it into Fonto again, and that's where I'll apply the text. I'm just going to use the image that I used for our Girl Answers Juicy Questions Guys Are Too Afraid to Ask video, and I will import that, say add text. My favorite thing about Fonto is that I can create a curve and I can tilt the text super easily. It just makes making thumbnails so quick and easy. And then when I'm done adding my text, I will just save that image, either airdrop it back onto my laptop and then upload the thumbnail from there, or I will just upload it directly through the YouTube Studio app on my phone. So guys, that is pretty much everything that I do in terms of planning, filming, and editing our YouTube videos. It's super easy. Anyone can create a video. Obviously, there's more complicated things that you can do if you really want to expand on your editing knowledge and things like that. Just once again, leave a comment down below and I will create those videos for you. If you guys enjoy these videos, please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and also subscribe down below. I love creating content. Jaden and I love creating YouTube videos, so support us and join our little YouTube community. Have a lovely rest of your day, guys, and we will see you tomorrow. Bye.